Good morning. Today I want to introduce to you a feisty lady named Cathy Nichols. She came to us from Los Angeles. She was born in Los Angeles. Let's find out how she found her way to Oklahoma. You have all your winter gear on. You look a little warm. Can you tell us about how you happen to have that on?
Well, I grew up in Los Angeles. I was married to an Air Force pilot, and we traveled around, and in 1985 we moved to Fairbanks, Alaska. The weather was a little different. We had moved from Altus, Oklahoma to Fairbanks, Alaska. So I'll show you some of the clothes I had to wear when I was going to work at 30 below. It's a little scary driving at 30 below. Cars don't like it. You have to put the seat of your car back a little bit so that you can drive. But let me explain what I'm wearing. First, I have heavy gloves on. These aren't the little knit gloves that you see people wearing here, but these are heavy gloves. Always wear a knit hat. And next, I have a parka. This parka is such that it zips up all the way to my eyes. So, but when you're driving, you're not too practical to zip it up to your eyes. I did at one point get frostbite on my nose. I was walking outside and I had everything covered but my nose, and I got frostbite. The parka is well insulated, and so I'll take that off. And we had recess at school until 20 below, so if you had the dreaded duty of recess duty, then you had to had to wear all the gear. And then come the snow pants, and I haven't worn these in a while, and I'll take them off. You always kept shoes under your desk at work, and you wore your boots to work, and you would change into your tennis shoes, and they would stay there until breakup, which was usually in April. These are my boots. These are called Lobens. They're made in Norway. They're felt, and they're very, very warm. And they're European shoes, so they don't have a left or a right. You have to get used to them. But they're probably the best boots to wear in Alaska. Okay.
Where did you spend your childhood?
I spent my childhood in Los Angeles, and I'll tell two stories about Los Angeles. My elementary school class, back in the dark ages, still meets. And last Saturday we met on Zoom, and it's just so much fun to be with these kids who are no longer kids. We're all the same age, and we have so much fun talking about elementary school. And that's pretty unique that we still meet. And then in the 9th grade, I moved to the San Fernando Valley. I am a true Valley girl. I moved there before freeways, when we had mostly orange groves out there and very few houses. And I spent through 12th grade in the San Fernando Valley.
Being a Valley girl.
Being a Valley girl.
A
real Valley girl before Valley girls became popular.
All right. Will you tell us about what you did in Alaska for 33 years?
Well, you know that I am a nurse, and I worked in many jobs. Two significant jobs were in a nursing home, and this was at the time when they didn't really have homes for adults with mental disabilities or physical disabilities, and so we had all ages there. Most of our patients were Alaskan natives, and I got to know the culture there, which was really important. And I was a day charge nurse for 5.5 years. And then I did home health for quite a while, and I really enjoyed doing that, driving around Alaska and going into homes of elders. And I never thought that I would actually be one of those elders. I don't think that ever crossed my mind. And then one day we came to work, and our organization was shut down for Medicare fraud, and I didn't have a job. So the first job I got was as a school nurse. I never thought I would love being a school nurse, but that proved to be the best job I had in my whole life, was being a school nurse. I was at the same school for 20 years, and I absolutely loved that job. And who would have thought that I would have been certified to work with elders and then ended up going to work with children.
Well, that's
So,
wonderful.
I was a school nurse, and that had to be the best job in the whole world.
Oh, that's good. Well, how did you find your way to Epworth, and what brought you to Epworth?
What brought me here? My daughter lives in Oklahoma, and I knew as I got older that I needed to be near family.
That is.
And so for 5 years, every spring break, I would come down here, and we visited every place in Oklahoma City, I think. And the best, the very best, was Epworth. I called it Foo-Foo Palace when I went back to Alaska and told people where I was going. And finally, the time came that I really needed to retire, even though I didn't want to. And I came to Epworth. And I've been here almost 2 years, and I am so, so glad I moved here.
Good, good. We're glad you moved here, too.
Oh, well, thank you.
What's your favorite thing to do for relaxing?
Well, my family is very lucky. We, for the last 9 Christmases, have taken destination Christmases. For the first 2, we went to Disney World, and the last 7, we've gone on cruises. And we've already paid for our cruise for this Christmas, barring any COVID problems. We're going.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite thing. It's how I've really bonded with my family, is during those cruises.
Will you share a couple stories about your job as a nurse?
Yeah, I'm going to just share a couple of them. Every year, we would talk to the kindergartners about not putting their tongues and lips on the metal fences or the flagpole. Well, every day, I was getting tongues off metal. And I've got a picture here. We were just always having bloody faces and bloody lips and bloody tongues, and the kids would come in crying. I don't think they believed us that their tongues and lips would stick to the metal, and they did. I have another story that I think would be interesting. I had 3 classes of special ed kids, and so I spent much of my time with the special ed kids. One of the little girls, I had to cath twice a day because she had a spina bifida, and so she and I would get pretty close. And every spring, the teachers, you guys probably remember these, would get these net butterfly things, and you'd get the pupas from that are going to turn into butterflies, and the kids would watch the pupas, and finally the butterflies would come out, and then they let the butterflies go. And one day, a butterfly came out of its pupa, and it was handicapped. Its wing was fused to its leg, and poor Mrs. Butterfly was dying. This little girl thought that the nurse could do anything, and they brought the butterfly to me to fix. And it was so sweet. These 2 little first-grade girls in tears bringing a dying butterfly to me. With its leg fused to the wing, and they thought I could fix it. And I couldn't, but it was really sweet. I have a picture of my school that I considered the best school in Fairbanks. I just loved my school to death. And it was called Ann Ween School. And then, at the very end, one day I was in my office, and of course I'm sitting at the computer, because if anybody knows, nowadays all nurses' notes go on computers. And I heard my principal say, we were the River Otters. Okay, River Otters, it's time. I had no idea what he was talking about, and I hope I won't cry. But every staff member, from even from downtown and from my school, and all the kids were in the hallway, and they thanked me. And I had to walk through the hallway. I got tons of cards and flowers, and they were all clapping, and it was quite an honor.
Oh.
And before that, I had been chosen as Employee of the Month, and I had so many people in the boardroom supporting me that they were flowing out the door. And so when it came time for me to retire, the newspaper was so impressed that I had so many people there that I ended up on the front page of the newspaper. And so one of the most difficult things coming to Epworth was I was a big fish in a little pond, and I came here and I was a nobody, and it was hard. So those are just a couple of the wonderful stories that I have.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. We do appreciate it. Well, I understand you'd like us to hear the Alaskan song. Could you play it for us now?
Yes, I'd be glad to.